right outside the castle walls.
My frown deepened. Why did he try to penetrate the castle defenses?
Taryn shrugged. He wasn't forthcoming with information, but I think he knows your friend Grady.
Brody tensed, and his mouth opened in surprise.
Grady? What happened to him? Wasn't he kidnapped by Bakas?
Sector 9 had lured him into their clutches, promising to make him invincible. With his bulging muscles and tall frame, he was a badass super soldier and damn hot. Taryn nodded sadly.
Yes, unfortunately. He's still under Bakas' control. It's become very difficult to restrain him since he's been trying to break free.
A determined look crossed Brody's face.
I'd like to speak to him if that's possible. I don't know, Taryn stated doubtfully. He's been quite violent toward anyone who gets too close. Luckily, Cog was with us on patrol because without him, we wouldn't have been able to restrain him.
I gasped. Cog was an orc and extremely powerful. How could a human, even a super soldier, nearly overpower him and Taryn's patrol? Fae were twice as strong as humans. He paused before adding,
It might be related to the Terra Mortuorum cross Bakas used on him and Scott. We were in the trenches together, Brody insisted. I owe him this.
What about King Garrick? I asked. Do you think he knows anything about countering this spell? Taryn shook his head in frustration.
Even if he does, I don't think we'll get any help from him anytime soon. The loss of his powers has left him bitter, and he blames all of you for it.
Jonas snorted angrily.
He should be grateful Princess Lyra healed him, or he would have ended up an empty husk.
He's scared, Maggie mumbled under her breath. Jonas's expression turned furious. His green gaze locked with mine, demanding an answer as his fingers clenched into fists at his sides. Maggie's face turned bright red. She hung her head and didn't say anything. Garrick had tortured Jonas when he'd been in the Unseelie Realm, something he would never forgive. I reached over and gently squeezed his hand. After a few moments, some of the tension eased from his body. Justice had remained silent. He was the quiet one, the vampire who took everything in before he made a decision. I'd come to rely on him to help us sort things out when emotions were high. I met his thoughtful gaze. What do you think we should do? Justice rubbed his chin.
First, I think we should allow Garrick to come to our meeting and discuss this with him. Why? Jonas demanded. He'll only lie.
No, he doesn't lie, I explained slowly. He simply doesn't tell you what you want to hear. Brody looked between me and Justice.
What about Grady?
Taryn rubbed his forehead.
If you want to talk to him, you can.
Brody headed toward Taryn.
I do.
He left with Taryn, but I had a feeling he'd regret it. I felt for him. He'd gone through hell with Sector 9 like we all had. Once again, he and his colleagues were being tortured for someone else's evil purpose. This time, it was Bakas. As Brody and Taryn left the room, I turned back to the team, taking a deep breath. We need to focus on our plan. Let's take Jonas's idea of using stealth and illusion magic and combine it with Maggie's suggestion of preparing for magical traps and wards. We'll have to gather more information about the Unseelie Realm and the possible location of the Terra Mortuorum cross. Jonas nodded. His anger from earlier seemingly subsided.
We should also find an expert in illusion magic, someone who can help us develop the necessary spells to stay hidden from Bakas and his guards.
Maggie raised her hand, a small smile forming on her lips. I know no one wants to hear this. She glanced at Jonas. But Garrick could help us. He knows the magic and Unseelie better than anyone here. Jonas gritted his teeth, grumbling under his breath. I squeezed his hand again. Maggie's right. Garrick is the most logical choice. Jonas released my hand and crossed his arms.
He'll lie through his teeth.
I rubbed my upper lip. Maybe, but I think it's the only plan we've got. I think we should bring him in to talk to us. He didn't say another word, but I wasn't sure he should be in the room when we brought in Garrick. Maybe I should talk to him alone, I suggested. Jonas narrowed his eyes.
Why?
I gave him a small smile. Because you seem to get heated whenever we mention him.